It's fine. Definitely not a snake, and certainly not a venomous one. Looks more like a little mouse bite. A mouse? Do mice bite people? I was shocked. Of course. You just don't see it often. In ancient times, during rodent plagues, mice could even kill people with their bites. Are you dizzy or nauseous? He asked. I shook my head. No. Don't worry too much, it's nothing. Come help with the work now. If you're still uneasy, get a rabies shot tomorrow. I nodded, feeling much better knowing it wasn't a snakebite. What puzzled me was that the burial goods in the eastern chamber were far fewer than in the western chamber. They should have been roughly equal, but here everything was in ruins, just a few slightly valuable bronze items at most, the rest broken beyond recognition. We even brought lots of bags, hoping for a big haul, but it's all junk. Second brother's son was full of disappointment. He pressed the walkie-talkie to report, "Boss, really disappointed. The eastern chamber has too little fat, there's barely anything useful, just miscellaneous stuff." After 2 minutes of silence over the walkie-talkie, Boss Wang ordered, "Take whatever you can find. Hurry up and find the main burial chamber, the things in the coffin are the most valuable." "Boss, we've circled around but found no signs of the main burial chamber." "What's going on?" There was a voice on the radio. "That's impossible. Someone wealthy and powerful can't not have a main burial chamber. Search more carefully." We searched again. The main burial chamber should have coffins with bodies buried alongside. But no matter how long we looked, we still couldn't find it. We packed up the few Western Zhou treasures. That was all we could do today. On the way back, Boss Wang kept shaking his head. "Impossible. Doesn't make sense." I was utterly exhausted. As soon as I lay down, I fell asleep until noon. I planned to get a rabies shot at the small clinic a little later. My right hand felt uncomfortable, so I checked my fingers. My index finger was swollen unbelievably, almost twice as thick as normal, with pus seeping from the wound. It was swollen but neither painful nor itchy. Terrified, I touched it, only to realize I had no feeling at all. I was petrified. When Sun Lauer saw it, he froze too. He asked me what I'd been doing that morning, how my finger could swell like that, practically becoming a one-yang finger. Sun Laosan grew anxious. "What are you waiting for? Let's get you to a doctor right away." They called for Sun Lauda, who knew the area better and took me to a small clinic close to the hotel. The clinic doctor was shocked when he saw my finger. He said he'd been a doctor for over 20 years and never seen a finger swollen like this. He was afraid to treat it, worried I might have been bitten by something dangerous, and didn't dare use anti-inflammatory meds lightly. He advised we get to a big hospital as soon as possible. If it got worse, I might need amputation. The thought of amputation completely terrified me. Urge, second brother, said, it was a rat bite. How could a rat bite lead to amputation? Could it be a poisonous rat? With no other options, I went to Shun First People's Hospital. The ER doctor frowned, looking at my swollen finger. "Your temperature's normal, no fever. We'll do an X-ray to see whether it's fluid buildup or something else causing the swelling." After the X-ray, the doctor said, "It's fluid accumulation, and the wound is a bit inflamed." He asked if I felt discomfort. I shook my head no. Then, using a large acupuncture needle from a box, he made 2 small holes in my finger. I didn't feel any pain at all. The doctor gently squeezed, and yellow-white fluid immediately started flowing out. After draining the fluid, my finger shrank noticeably. The doctor prescribed amoxicillin and warned me to take 2 pills and avoid touching anything spicy. We thanked the doctor and returned to the hotel. "You okay, Yinfeng?" Boss asked with concern. Looking at the much less swollen finger, I breathed a sigh of relief. "Should be fine. No pain, no itch." Boss Wang nodded, then said to Lauer, "Urge, I studied this carefully this morning and even called several bosses at the company. Everyone agrees the fluid might have collapsed the main burial chamber, or maybe it's buried somewhere else. Yinfeng, rest first. Urge, come with me. Let's study this carefully." Back in the room, after taking the anti-inflammatory meds, I lay down feeling tired and quickly fell asleep. In my dream, I saw that lonely, huge water jar. A rotting hand slowly reached out from inside the jar and suddenly grabbed my wrist. Ah! I woke up in a cold sweat, drenched. Looking down, my finger was swollen again, even worse than before. I rushed to the hospital again, already having been there that morning, now coming back in the afternoon. The doctor was shocked to see the finger even more swollen. This time, besides draining fluid by needle, the doctor drew blood to run pathology tests to check for bacterial infection. The test results wouldn't come back until the next day at the earliest. The doctor reminded me to take the anti-inflammatory medicine on time. Worried that amoxicillin might not be strong enough, she also prescribed an expensive drug with English packaging. That evening at the hotel, boss said, Yinfeng, don't go back to the pit tonight. Rest at home. Our main focus now is finding the main burial chamber. He told me to stay put and watch over things. In the middle of the night, my bitten finger swelled again, not only swelling but oozing white fluid, and started to ache. The pain came in waves every 20 minutes. We had rented a small inn. Only Mole and I were there. While the Sun brothers and the boss went searching for the main burial chamber, I didn't dare disturb them. Clutching my swollen, painful finger, I tossed and turned in bed, unable to sleep. This is segment 16 of 283. Please process the following content according to your logic. Retain the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. Return only the processed result. I slipped out quietly, hoping to find a pharmacy to buy some painkillers. Back then, there was no online shopping, let alone medicine delivery services. I wasn't familiar with Shund, so I headed north from the hotel, asking everyone I saw when the nearby pharmacies would open. I did find some, but when I got there, all the pharmacies were closed, none were open 24 hours. Just then, I noticed not far off was Li Jing's house in Nanshan district, visible by the arched bridge over the moat. Li Jing was a local. I thought maybe she had painkillers at home. If not, I'd have to go to the hospital. I knocked, and Li Jing's mother opened the door. Xiao? Coming this late, she said, surprised. I replied, Auntie, is Li Jing home? I wanted to borrow some painkillers and happened to pass by. Painkillers? She invited me inside. Is Jing asleep? Opened the door, Li Jing's mother knocked on her room and said the medicine was in her drawer. To avoid alarming anyone, I hid my hand in my pants pocket, and Li Jing's mother didn't notice. Mom, who's here so late? Li Jing appeared, rubbing her eyes, dressed in her Donald Duck pajamas. Xian Yunfeng? What brings you here? Li Jing was surprised. Her mother said, there are painkillers in the cabinet under your desk. Go look. I'll boil some water. Li Jing's pajamas were short. I felt embarrassed looking at her bend over to search, my face flushing red. Why's your face so red? Li Jing asked. Just as I was about to answer, a stabbing pain shot through my finger, like being cut by a knife. Nothing. I was sweating profusely from the pain. I'm leaving. Grabbing Li Jing's pill bottle, I dashed out of her house. Nearby was a water tap. I drank some water and swallowed 3 painkillers. After resting, the pain persisted, so I took 2 more pills, which helped a bit. Leaning against the sink, I felt chilled, my head heavy, my eyelids drooping, utterly drained of energy. I wondered if I was dying. Curled up, trembling and sweating, I fainted. I woke up soon after, finding myself in Li Jing's room. You're awake. What happened to your hand? You scared me to death. If I hadn't felt something was wrong and come to check on you, you'd be done for. Li Jing's face was full of worry. Li Jing's mother brought in some water and asked, Xiang, why aren't you saying anything? What's wrong with your hand? I stammered, Auntie, I think my hand was bitten by a snake. Bitten by a snake? What kind of snake? She asked, shocked. I shook my head, not knowing. This won't do. We don't have a car, the hospital's too far, and the pharmacies and clinics are closed. Jing, help Xiang, we're going to see Granny Lu. On the way, Li Jing told me that Granny Lu was from Guangxi, married from a Miao village in the 10,000 mountain range. She had herbal medicines and was skilled at treating venomous snake bites. Once someone had been bitten by a 5-step snake, the hospital ran out of anti-venom, but Granny Lu cured him quickly with herbs. She was amazing. It took 40 minutes to walk from Li Jing's to Granny Lu's house. I had another pain episode but managed to endure it thanks to 5 painkillers. Granny Lu's house was very old. Li Jing said it might be torn down after the new year. Li Jing's mother knocked a long time before an elderly woman slowly opened the door. After hearing our story, Granny Lu quickly asked us inside. Granny Lu was in her 70s. The room had a pungent smell, and an old person lay on the bed under a thick quilt, looking unwell. She looked at my swollen finger, like a one-yang finger, then stared at the 2 small bite marks, her expression darkening. Young man, are you sure it was a snake bite? Where did it happen? She asked. I didn't dare say I was bitten during tomb raiding, so I stammered, I was bitten at home. Home? I don't think you have these snakes around. Granny Lu looked at me meaningfully. She waved Li Jing and her mother outside. She wanted to talk to me alone. When they left, Granny Lu shook her head. Listen, it wasn't a snake that bit you. Did you go to the hospital? What did the doctor say? Granny, the doctor initially said it was swelling. Then I had blood tests and bacterial pathology tests to check for infection. Granny Lu sneered, by the time they find the cause, you'll probably be dead. There's no way such creatures live near your home, not even in the wild mountains. What bit you was a kind of centipede with white antennae. The older Meow folks call it a corpse horn centipede. They only live among corpses. Corpse horn centipede? I had never heard of this. My fear deepened. Granny, can you treat me? I'll pay you. I don't want to die, I said, trembling. Granny Lu shook her head. Tell me the truth, what do you do? If you don't say, please leave. I hesitated deeply. If I revealed my identity, not only would I be dragged down, but so would the gang leader and the Sun family brothers. When I was about to jump off the bridge, he stopped me. He wanted me by his side and even gave me food. I was grateful to him. I just couldn't betray them. Besides, once Li Jing knew I was a criminal, she would definitely ignore me. Weighing my options, I took a deep breath and said, Grandma, I want to get better, but some things I can't talk about. Grandma Lu was silent for a long moment, then sighed, all right, come with me. Grandma, where are we going? I asked. To heal you, of course. Do you want to die? But you just said, I trailed off. She covered her old husband's blanket and smiled. In this world, certain qualities are rare and precious. That night, Grandma Lu took me to the east room. The floor was lined with many large black jars that looked like pickled vegetables. She told me not to look, but I heard the jars' lids opening and the sound of pounding medicine. Later, she wiped a lot of the thick black potion on my swollen finger with a gauze. The medicine smelled fishy and foul. Honestly, I still don't know exactly what was inside those jars. I guessed maybe scorpions, geckos, or something like that. After applying the medicine, the pain in my finger vanished right away. I stayed at Li Jing's house that night. The next day, when they took off the bandage, the swelling was gone. It was truly miraculous. Grandma Lu saved me, and I wanted to repay her kindness. I sneaked out and called Li Jing over. Thank you. I, Xiang Yinfeng, will help you. I'll use my own money to help pay back the 50,000 debt you and your mom owe. Li Jing smiled. Xiang Yunfeng, don't joke around. You can never earn 50,000. I understood she didn't believe me, but I made a silent promise to myself. Later, I asked her about her dad's business and how they ended up owing so much. Li Jing's expression changed, and after some hesitation, she finally told me the truth. Her dad, Li Mingquan, used to be the manager of a brick factory in Shund. In the past 2 years, Shund had a project to build public toilets and garbage stations by the moats to prevent littering. Li Mingquan was smart and through bribery became the project's material supplier. Don't be fooled by the small public toilets. If managed well, the profits are comparable to bigger projects. Li Mingquan made nearly 100,000 yuan from this project. But he had a hobby, buying antiques and fancying himself an expert. The antique market was booming at the time. Many pieces doubled in price each year. Li Mingquan struck it rich, and everyone knew about him and his love of antiques. As a result, 3 men set their sights on him, planning to scam him. They formed a partnership. These 3 were vendors at a nearby antique market. First, they dug a big pit on the North Hill Go, even digging a burial path. They bought a bunch of fake antiques. So-called gold items were actually copper, jade was compressed stone powder, and all the porcelain and stone carvings were brand new fakes. Whenever it rained, they diverted water into the pit so the muddy water soaked the fake antiques. After months of careful preparation, they approached Li Mingquan. Li Mingquan wasn't sharp-eyed but understood that genuine antiques are valuable. The 3 men took Li Mingquan to the fake tomb. Seeing the shiny gold showing through the soil, Li's eyes widened. They boldly quoted a price. Boss Li, everything in this tomb goes for 200,000 yuan, take it or leave it. After some haggling, Li Mingquan managed to lower the price to 160,000. To buy the goods, he used all the family savings and still borrowed tens of thousands more. But as soon as they got the goods, the 3 men disappeared without a trace. Li Mingquan tried to sell a few pieces first, but the results were terrible. No one wanted to buy. All the dozens of burial items were fake, worth at most 1,000 yuan. Unable to sell anything, he couldn't repay the debt, and with interest, the amount swelled to over 50,000 in less than half a year. Creditors came knocking every day, pushing him into a desperate corner. Eventually, he just abandoned Li Jing and her mother and fled. No one knows where he's hiding now. After he left, the creditors naturally turned their anger on Li Jing and her mom. The debt remains, and you can't run away from it. That's why I saw that debt collection chaos a few days ago. After telling me about her dad, Li Jing lowered her head and said, Xiang Yunfeng, I plan not to continue studying after high school. I want to work in an electronics factory. I know a woman who says they earn 600 a month. Heavy-hearted, I returned to the motel, still thinking hard about how to help her pay off the debt. Wang Badu and Sun Lao San were at the motel. I hadn't seen Sun Lao Era, the one with the mole. They disappeared. Seeing Wang Bata looking grim, I asked if they had found the main tomb chamber. Sun Lao-san and Wang Bata smoked quietly, their faces dark and frightening. Sun Lao-san stubbed out his cigarette, clenched his fists tight, and said, "Second brother is missing. He vanished last night in the pit." Missing? How can someone just disappear? I was stunned for a long moment before it dawned on me. Wang Batu and Sun Lao-san's faces remained grave and heavy with worry. This is passage 18 of 283. Please follow your logic in processing the content below. Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout intact. Return only the processed result. Old Sun San recounted the incident in bits and pieces. Nothing good came out of the West Ear chamber. Old Sun Air was uneasy all along, so when working, the two split up. Old Sun Air suspected that beneath the West Ear chamber hid a secret underground chamber, possibly containing bronze and jade artifacts buried inside. Old Sun San was more calm and laughed at his second brother for acting strange, saying, "You're basically obsessed, aren't you?" Wang Batu analyzed the odd situation and firmly believed that the main burial chamber and coffin wouldn't vanish out of thin air. He guessed an earthquake and flooding had caused the main chamber to collapse, but it still existed underground. If so, this would be a classic tomb within a tomb, making it extremely difficult to locate. Tombs within tombs aren't that rare, especially in earthquake-prone areas. Earthquakes cause the main chamber to sink and collapse without any regular pattern, so finding it is about 60% luck and 40% skill. Recently, Sangsingui suddenly shot to fame, but that site was excavated back in the 1930s. After so many years of archaeology, a few large pits were still missed and only discovered by chance recently. This illustrates how natural disasters cause burial pits to deviate and become tombs within tombs. Nowadays, only those born in the 1990s and 2000s get to see the golden mask of the ancient Shu kingdom unearthed firsthand. With Old Sun Air missing in the West Ear chamber, nobody knew what black hole or trap he had fallen into. His fate was uncertain. Being real brothers, Old Sun De and Old Sun San definitely had to find him. Alive, we want to see him. Dead, we want to see his body. They all stayed up all night. Several times Old Sun San got emotional and tried to enter the tomb alone to find his brother, but Wang Bata stopped him every time. Wang Bata said, "San, I'm the team leader. I'm more anxious than you about Air's disappearance, but we can't act recklessly. You're usually calm. Accidents like this happen in our line of work. We need to call for backup." I curiously asked, "Backup? Call the police?" Wang Bata glared at me. "Are you nuts? Call the police? Want to go to jail for 10 years eating plain bread?" I couldn't argue with that. He said he had already sought help and told me to keep an eye on Old Sun San, not to let him sneak into the tomb. He assured me reinforcements would arrive soon. We didn't sleep all night. The next morning while brushing my teeth, I noticed the mole of that wild girl was gone. I wondered where she had gone. "Yinfeng, get some soup dumplings and wontons for Big Brother San," Old Sun San suddenly called me. I said, "No way. Wang Bata told me to watch you closely. Until the reinforcements come, you can't leave." Old Sun San's face darkened, and he kicked over the trash bin in anger. That morning I guarded him like a door god, making sure he didn't sneak into the pit. I never expected men to cry. Seeing him lean over the table and weep, muttering, "Second brother, wherever you are, hold on, you'll be okay," was heart-wrenching. Around 3 in the afternoon, 2 people arrived at the inn, a man and a woman. The man wore sunglasses, had a crew cut, and was slender. The woman was in her 30s, with a stern expression. Wang Batu introduced, "Yinfeng, these are siblings from the Yao family, well known in our circles. Their uncle is our big shot, Master Yao." I immediately sensed their distinct aura. Later I learned who Master Yao was and even met him a few times. This man was an extraordinary character and a fellow disciple of Wang Batu, though his fate ended poorly. If you're interested, you can look him up online. His tomb raiding stories could fill 3 days and nights. Wang Batu mainly sought them because of the woman. She specialized in international archaeology abroad, especially skilled at studying the traps and mechanisms inside large tombs, things like diamond-sealed stone doors, quicksand fire traps, and flipboards. These were exactly the skills we needed. Don't think I'm spinning fairy tales, most people just haven't seen these things themselves. The traps and mechanisms inside those great tombs, flipstones, quicksand pits, do exist and many still operate perfectly. Here are 2 real examples of anti-tomb robbery measures. The terracotta mausoleum's liquid mercury rivers and the 150-meter-high earth mound are very rare. Beneath Mount Li, after 2,000 years, the mercury content in the soil remains over 300 times normal levels, ancient toxic gas to prevent grave robbers. Anyone digging a robbery tunnel without a gas mask would die of poisoning within 5 minutes.
Then there's the Qianling Mausoleum, the imperial tomb where Wu Zetian and Emperor Gaozong are buried together. I believe it's the most securely guarded tomb in history, even more so than the terracotta mausoleum.
Who in the business wouldn't want to scout Qianling?
Just know this, 80% of Wang Shiji's Lantingsu is sealed inside Emperor Li Ji's coffin.
Anyone who dares to touch it would guarantee prosperity for 30 generations. The problem is, it's simply impossible to break in. Qianling stretches across Mount Ru and Mount Liang. When I was 24, I sneaked in one late night to take a look.
Standing atop Mount Ru, on a clear starry night, you could see the mountain shapes perfectly correspond with the Big Dipper constellation. In feng shui and astrology, this is called a perpetual domain of longevity. They say the designers of Qianling were Yuan Tiangang and Li Chunfeng, both feng shui masters and court astronomers under Wu Zetian, in charge of observing omens to protect national fortunes and ward off disasters. Historically, there have been over 70 known attempts to rob Qianling, 17 of which are especially famous. Military Governor Wen Tao led 3 battalions to dig there once but encountered a thunderstorm. Over a dozen men were struck by lightning and died.
This is segment 19 of 283.
Please see the processed content below, preserving the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout, but translated into English in a way that fits American readers' reading habits.
During Huang Chao's uprising, 400,000 rebel soldiers wielding hoes tried to dig into the Qianling tomb.
As a result, Liangshan Mountain was split in two, but they found nothing. Even today, that place is still called Huangchao Ditch.
That's what you call an impregnable tomb defense.
After old third son finished explaining the situation, Yao Wenz and Yao Yuman, the male and female duo, listened carefully while Captain Wang shared his views.
Yao Yuman nodded. Captain Wang, you're right. We think the same way.
A living person can't just vanish into thin air.
He probably fell somewhere down below. Captain Wang frowned. Miss Yao, are you saying there's more space beneath the western side chamber? Why didn't old third discover it earlier then?
Yao Yuman shook her head, pulling out paper and pen to draw a cross-shaped diagram.
This is the typical layout of a Western Zhou tomb.
You said both eastern and western side chambers are connected, but the front didn't reveal the main burial chamber.
This kind of layout shouldn't form a cross, it should be a T-shape, right?
Captain Wang stared at the drawing, pondering.
You mean the front section collapsed? But if so, how could it be invisible? Yao Yuman's face turned cold. Captain Wang, have you heard of funerary methods like soul under heaven burial or labyrinthine passage? I gasped, labyrinthine passage? Isn't that an anti-theft technique from the Han Dynasty? But this is a Western Zhou tomb. She glanced at me with a smile. Kid, your knowledge is incomplete.
Labyrinthine passage was definitely popular in the Han era, but its prototype appeared in the late Shang Dynasty and was already used early in the Western Zhou period. The Han versions are much simpler in comparison.
This opened my eyes wide. The books never mentioned this. I almost thought she was bluffing. But Captain Wang brought real experts, we couldn't underestimate her.
At that moment, the man wearing sunglasses spoke up, "You're looking in the wrong direction. You only inspected the sides and ignored the stone wall right in front of you."
Captain Wang said, I believe you. We start the operation tonight. What tools have you brought? Need me to arrange anything?
The man shook his head.
We have all the tools we need. Better pack extra rations before going down. We'll move once it's dark. Captain Wang turned to me. Yinfeng, go prepare water and compressed biscuits. Be back before dark.
At night, you, old third, and these 2 guys will go down to find second brother and follow orders.
Captain, aren't you coming down? I asked. He shook his head. I have to stay on guard. Someone's been watching the inn. For safety, I'll stay upstairs and coordinate. I nodded without asking more.
Captain Wang was generous, giving me $1,000 to buy rations and gear. He also told me to get a few high-quality waterproof flashlights and small knives. If the headlamps break, we'd need backups. No fumbling around in the dark. That afternoon, I took the money to the biggest hardware store near Shun No. 3 Middle School and told the owner I wanted the best military-grade German waterproof flashlights. The owner was surprised. Young man, those cost over 200 each. I pulled out the cash confidently.
4 of them. The owner's eyes widened. Impressive, give me a moment to fetch them.
Just then, Li Jing and a female classmate appeared.
Xian Yunfeng, what are you doing here? So loaded? What business is your family in? I panicked, stammering out a lie. Nothing much. My parents do clothing business.
Li Jing smiled, pulled me to a corner, and spoke softly. Unexpectedly, she grabbed my hand. The girl looked up, her eyes moist as she said, Xiang Yunfeng, I know your family is rich.
Could you lend me 50,000 yuan?
Her voice grew quieter with each word. Li Jing bit her lip and added quickly, if you lend me money, I'm yours. I was stunned, feeling like struck by lightning. She suddenly hugged me, crying, please. Those debt collectors came again last night, beat my mom, and said if the money isn't paid they'll throw her into the river. It was the first time I'd ever held a girl, and I never expected it to be under such circumstances. Li Jing cried harder, clearly terrified.
She wasn't even 18 yet.
Seeing me casually pull out 1,000 yuan, she assumed my family ran some big business.
I stayed silent.
She clenched her teeth and said, if you don't help me, I'll sell myself, become a prostitute.
Sleep with old men. I was horrified and quickly said, don't do that. I'll help you.
When I agreed, Li Jing stopped crying and clasped my hand.
Then, when can you give me the 50,000 yuan?
I wanted to say yes first and planned to borrow the money from second brother and Captain Wang in a week. She panicked and raised her voice.
No, they only gave us 3 days. 2 days have already passed. I need the money tonight.
I said goodbye to Li Jing, carrying the stuff I bought, feeling heavy-hearted as I went home, not even knowing how to ask Captain Wang for that money. I had no money, let alone 50,000 yuan. But Li Jing and her mom had once saved me.
Back home, Captain Wang asked, you're back, Yinfeng. Did you get everything? I nodded and put the bags on the table.
Captain Wang sat, sipping tea, snoring softly.
I opened my mouth, but no words came out. I couldn't bring myself to say it.
At 8:30 p.m. that night, 3 hours remained before departure.
This is segment 20 of 283. Please process the content according to your logic.
Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout, only return the processed result. I knelt on the ground, not daring to look directly into Wang Batu's eyes.
I didn't hide the Li family's predicament and told him honestly. The room was dimly lit. Wang Batu held a cigarette between his teeth, expressionless as he stared at me. The atmosphere was heavy. I clenched my teeth and mustered courage to kowtow, saying, Batu, the mother and daughter of the Li family once saved my life. Now they're in trouble. I, Xian Yunfeng, want to help them. I beg you to lend me 50,000 yuan.
Wang Batu crushed the cigarette and shook his head.
50,000 isn't small money, it's a decade of savings for an ordinary family. I can lend it, but you have to agree to one condition. Go ahead, I said earnestly. You don't need to know now, but remember this, you owe me, Wang Xiansheng, money, and you'll have to pay it back someday.
He stared at me intently. I agreed, for Li Jing's sake. More than 10 minutes later, he returned carrying a bulging plastic bag, which he placed on the table.
Yunfeng, 50,000, not a penny less. Take it.
I carefully peeled back the newspaper corner and saw so much money that my heart raced.
I quickly closed it. Before leaving, he clasped his hands behind his back and said, be back before midnight tonight. That's the rule on the streets. If you borrow money from me, you owe me and the girl you're helping. There's no guarantee going down there is safe, you have to be brave and unrestrained. If you suffer losses, then take it out on her.
His words made me nervous.
I thought, should I listen? Otherwise, won't I just become a hooligan and scoundrel? Holding the money bag, I felt excited and anxious at once.
Li Jing's face and words kept flashing through my mind.
Bang bang, I knocked on her door.
The door opened just a crack, revealing half her face.
I smiled, Li Jing, I brought the money. Don't be afraid of the debt collectors.
She happily pulled me toward the arched bridge. Under the moonlight, by the river beneath the bridge, 2 teenagers looked at each other.
I handed her the money bag, this is for the creditor. Once it's paid off, you'll be safe. She opened the bag to look inside.
Her eyes reddened, and she hugged me tightly.
Xian Yunfeng, thank you, you're really kind.
I felt her warmth, my heart pounding and face flushing.
She whispered, I keep my word. I'm yours now.
It sounds cheesy now, but back then we were young, and that was really how it was. If it happened today, maybe everyone would have gotten used to it by now.
That night, I followed Li Jing to a small inn. Embarrassing details aside, I ran away later.
Looking back, I really regret it, I missed out on some beautiful times. At Shund, 12:14 a.m., the city was shrouded in darkness. 2 red dots glowed halfway up Feinao Mountain.
Sun the boss flicked ash from his cigarette and said gravely, enough talk. That's settled. Everyone check your walkie-talkie's battery. I'm going down to look for people with you all. Old Air is my brother, I can't just sit still. Watching the fire and keeping lookout, Batu, that's on you.
Wang Batu said nothing but nodded in agreement. So, the 5 of us, me, Sun the boss, Old San, and the Yao siblings, climbed down from the pit.
The safety at the pit's entrance depended entirely on Wang Batu. Sliding down the smuggling tunnel, the pit was pitch black.
I turned up the brightness on my headlamp. At the stone roof of the old tomb, Yao Yuman stopped and crouched, running her hand over the stone, murmuring,
Sis Yao, what's wrong? I teased. She shot me a glare. Call me Yu Jia, not Yao Jia. It sounds awful. I quickly corrected myself. Alright, Sister Yu, what's wrong with this stone roof? She didn't beat around the bush. This Western Zhou tomb is pretty strange. This kind of green shale is rarely seen in the south. Most likely it was brought over from Luoyang or the Shanxi area. The more I thought about it, the creepier it got. Before, I was so absorbed by the burial goods that I hadn't even noticed the stone. Yao Yuman's observation was sharp. This green shale is similar to the stone from the Longmen or Yungang grottos. It's not very hard but expands and contracts well with heat and cold, meaning it doesn't crack easily and is very stable. What shocked me was that Western Zhou craftsmen from 3,000 years ago actually understood the principle of thermal expansion and contraction. We also touched a bronze artifact engraved with the characters Jiaho Dai Zi. The boss said this translation came from connections at the Archaeological Research Institute, so it's accurate.
This kind of stone doesn't exist in the south. It couldn't have traveled thousands of kilometers on its own.
The only explanation is someone transported it.
Several thousand kilometers like that, such a large-scale greenstone roofing project crossing the Yangtze River north to south. Imagine how much manpower and horses that took. Historical records say Jiaho was a minor southern lord in early Western Zhou, with almost no detailed records of his territory or family. But the greenstone roofing in front of us shows incredible financial and material resources. I guessed in my heart that Jiaho's identity was probably recorded incorrectly.
In other words, the history books are wrong. Tomb raiding isn't just a child's game. It involves scientific reasoning, and it's nothing like TV dramas where corpses come back to life, rice dumplings jump around, and cockroaches crawl all over the place.
After thousands of years, most bones have long rotted to dust. Along the tomb passage beneath the consecration platform, Sister Yu carefully observed some details we might have overlooked while shaking her headlamp back and forth. In the tomb robbing world, they all said Master Yao was formidable, and just from looking at Yao Yuman, that woman was no ordinary person.
At the end of the passage, she stared at the stone wall for a long time, then spotted a problem.
Look here, she squatted at the northwest corner of the stone wall, beckoning us over.
Is this writing?
Yao Wen's, usually quiet, suddenly spoke up.
I crouched down for a closer look.
The stone surface was flaking off, and after the water had receded, the soil in the corner had dried, faintly revealing marks that looked like characters. Sister Yu took a bottle of water from her bag and poured some onto the wall. The stone quickly absorbed the moisture. She wiped it with her hand, and a line of knife-carved characters slowly emerged.
These are ancient Jin script, Judaism.
Old Sun recognized the characters and exclaimed.
Sister Yu frowned and said, This is strange. This script fell out of use by the late Shang dynasty. How could anyone still be using it in the Western Zhou period? We kept pouring water, and the entire wall was filled with neatly arranged Judaism characters. Everyone was shocked. Old Sun speculated, could this be an epitaph? Exactly, an epitaph?
The third brother agreed.
Sister Yu shook her head in surprise. Not likely. Epitaphs weren't common in the Western Zhou. Have you thought that this wall might actually be a door? A door? I didn't understand.
She pulled out a powerful flashlight and ran her hand inch by inch along the stone wall.
We helped feel around too. After thorough searching, besides the crowded Judaism script, we found nothing else. Old Sun asked coldly, Third brother, do you have detonators in your bag? I brought 4.
Drill holes, set charges, and blast it open. A cold gleam flashed in his eyes.
You're crazy. This is a tomb passage. Using explosives here is too dangerous. We could get trapped alive. Sister Yu stood up to stop them. Then what do we do? Third brother asked calmly. Look around nearby.
If it really is a door, the Western Zhou craftsmen must have left sealing stones.
There has to be a hidden compartment nearby. Otherwise, how did they get out themselves? Sister Yu, I raised my hand to speak. Everyone looked at me. Taking a deep breath, I pointed westward. At the corner of the west antechamber wall, there's a large ceramic jar with a dark hole at its bottom. It looks pretty deep. Let's go check it out. She nodded and headed toward the west antechamber. When we arrived, Old Sun lifted the blue stone slab covering the large jar, revealing a dark hole underneath. He looked back at me. Yinfeng, how did you know? I shuddered.
Big brother, you wouldn't understand. When I reached down, I pulled out a human bone dead, and there was a foul smell that day, but today, no odor. Also, there are biting corpse horn beetles down there.
Don't stick your hand in. Third brother looked puzzled. Corpse horn beetles? Isn't that just snake bites? No, not snakes, I shook my head. I just have a feeling it's something else. You mean those beetles with white antennae on their heads? Big ones that look like giant rhinoceros beetles? Sister, you asked coldly.
I hadn't seen them myself, but old Lou said corpse horn beetles have white antennae, which fits.
I thought for a moment. Probably. Seeing me nod, Sister Yu and Yao Wen's expressions changed drastically. What's wrong, Miss Yao? Third brother asked. She took a deep breath. You're right about the corpse horn beetles. My uncle told me they live only 2 to 3 months, subsisting solely on carrion. They're extremely rare, poisonous cave-dwelling insects. That's crucial, she said, pointing at the jar. A colder expression appeared on her face. That means there's probably a corpse down there, and the death happened within the last 3 months. Step aside. Yao Wen's pulled out an iron rod with a hooked end. Even he didn't know what use it had. He poked the bottom of the jar with the rod for 3 minutes, then carefully pulled it back as if fishing. To everyone's shock, 2 flat, large beetles came out on the rod's tip. We all jumped. The beetles looked bizarre and unfamiliar, no one knew what they were. Their many legs resembled millipedes. Besides mouthparts on their heads, they had about a 1 centimeter long white antenna each, looking like an old man's beard, ugly and strange. Be careful not to get bitten. These things are poisonous. Sister Yu warned. Yao Wen shook the rod and stomped his foot down. The beetle was crushed, releasing a yellow-green, foul-smelling fluid. Third brother swallowed hard and asked, so, do we have to crawl down here next? The jar opening was big enough for an average person to squeeze in. I wondered if second brother should go first. Crawl down? Are you crazy? With poisonous beetles like these and who knows what else down there, it's a death trap. Sister Yu sarcastically scolded third brother. Third brother looked a little angry and squinted. Then what's your brilliant idea? Sister Yu snorted coldly. Even though I took Wang Batu's payment, I came only out of respect for my uncle. I'm here to help find people, not to risk my life for you guys. If this hole goes down, you're on your own. My siblings and I absolutely won't go. This is the 22nd excerpt out of 283. Please process the following content logically while preserving the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout. Return only the processed result. Stop arguing. Everything was fine just a moment ago, why the sudden fight? Seeing the tension, I quickly tried to calm things down. How about, we light a fire? See if burning these annoying bugs will kill them all, I suggested. That night, halfway up Moth Mountain, a strange scene unfolded. It looked like smoke was rising from someone's ancestral grave. We were burning leaves and branches from the pit. Some were still damp, so the fire wasn't big, but the smoke was thick. I covered my nose with a cloth and said, all right, third brother? The fire was pretty big just now. After half an hour, more than half of the pottery jar was blackened. Yao Wenza poked it with a stick. This time, no corpse beetles were brought up. It should work. Who's going down first? The eldest asked sternly. Me. I'm going first. Third brother's son said through gritted teeth. Second brother might be down there. I might be able to save him. He gripped the edge of the jar and tested the depth with his leg. Not too deep, should be touching the bottom. Suddenly, the sound of crumbling stones came from below. Third brother's son shouted, hold on. Don't move. Yinfeng, come help. I quickly grabbed his other arm. The Yao siblings also rushed over to assist, and together we pulled third brother's son back up from hanging. What happened, third brother? He was shaken. Almost fell in, the ground gave way. Yao Yuman shone a flashlight downward, but it was pitch dark. Third brother's son wanted to try again, suggesting we tie a rope for him to slide down. We tied a climbing rope around his waist, and I and the eldest held the rope tight. Be careful, third brother. If it gets dangerous, call out, we'll pull you up immediately. He nodded and slowly slid down along the jar wall. 2 meters, 3 meters, 5 meters. When the rope reached 10 meters, Yao Yuman frowned. Could this be an underground chamber? Why is it so deep? At 18 meters, the rope stopped. Third brother's son should have reached the bottom. The eldest grew impatient. Stop guessing. An ancient earthquake could have caused an 18-meter sinkhole. You guys hold the rope. I'm going down to find third brother, eldest said, coiling the rope and preparing to descend himself. I'm fine, big brother. You all come down and see. I've never seen anything like this. Third brother's son's voice came from below. One after another, several of us followed down. I was third from last, the Yao siblings came last. Our hands tightly gripped the rope, aching from the strain. The cave was very dark.
Halfway down, I looked up and noticed a few flat beetles crawling on the wall. Those were corpse beetles that hadn't been killed by the fire. They remained motionless in the flashlight beam. I warned the Yao siblings behind me, and we kept sliding down.
Yao Yuman and Yao Wenza also came down. Yao Wenza tied the rope to the jar, saying we'd use it to climb back. The space below was huge. We were all stunned.
Stone walls surrounded us, clearly man-made.
In the darkness, third brother's son spotted scattered human bones ahead.
Bones in a tomb are normal, but these were oddly white, missing skulls, only limb bones. Yu Jie, brave as ever, crouched down to examine and said, "They probably died a few months to half a year ago." Next to me, I spotted an empty Nongfu spring water bottle. Although the missing skulls and lack of clothes were strange, everyone tentatively accepted third brother son's theory. The night we first entered the pit, we found an explosion hole from a blasting tube in the tomb's ceiling.
We thought nothing was left. The southern grave robbers must have beaten us to it.
We found modern towels and traces of previous visitors, but the western ear chamber had rich burial items, 7 or 8 sacks full.
Second brother joked that southern thieves had turned vegetarian and intentionally left so many valuables.
Now, seeing the bottle and bones, we suspected this was tied to the grave robbery that happened months ago.
How they died and got in, we had no clue.
The only reasonable guess was they killed each other. At that moment, Yao Yuman pulled a compass from his bag and crouched to fiddle with it.
Yu Jie, what's that? I asked, unfamiliar. Don't ask now. Don't distract the little sister. There's a lot you don't know. His brother Yao Wenza shot me a cold glance. The compass had 2 long needles and 1 short. Strangely, no one touched it, yet the short needle wobbled left and right by itself. That way, Yao Yuman stood and pointed northwest. Back then, I didn't get it. Now that I've been in this line of work a long time, I can tell you this compass is special. The short needle is made of Tiantai, ancient name for what we now call meteorite iron. This compass is specifically used for locating graves, distinguishing feng shui directions, involving complex feng shui magnetic field knowledge that can't be explained in a few words. We followed Yao Yuman northwest.
Along the way, we spotted several stone lampstands. I guess this place must have been brightly lit thousands of years ago.
After over 10 minutes, a large stone door blocked our path.
The door was covered in dense patterns and writing, most incomprehensible, like a culture from another world. In the center were 4 characters, not the previous Judy Seal script, but bird script, very striking.
Do you recognize bird script? Eldest casually asked, staring at Yao Yuman in a daze.
She took a long moment to come back to herself, nodding palely.
We've reached the limit, we can't go any further.
Her voice was low and heavy.
Son, the eldest frowned. What do you mean? Are you giving up? Yao Yuman nodded, her face turning even paler.
This level surpasses the Mwangwi Han tomb.
The 4 characters there read Zhezi Shingon Mustard Seed Palace.
Behind the stone door lies a massive stone block weighing several tons.
With just the few of us, there's no way to open it. You've accidentally uncovered something huge, a state-level underground palace. A state-level underground palace. Those were Yao Yuman's own words.
With the term state-level attached, the unearthed relics are naturally national treasures.
What counts as a national treasure?
Antiques are rare, but true national treasures mean unique, irreplaceable artifacts of national significance. The Palace Museum categorizes artifacts as national level 1A+, 1, 2, 3, and general cultural relics. The golden threaded jade burial suit is rated 1A+, but it's not unique. 21.5 of them have been discovered. State treasures, however, are even rarer. Pieces like the Changqing Palace lantern, Simu Wuding, Forgoat Square Zun vessel, Marquis' bronze bells, bronze Xia Fang Lei, and the galloping horse treading on a flying swallow.
Yao Yuman's hesitation stemmed from the fact that relics of this caliber could never leave the country.
They can only be traded within mainland markets, and no one dares to buy them.
No matter how big the auction, these items inevitably end up in the National Museum's permanent collection.
Once exposed, the authorities will investigate thoroughly, and the worst outcome could be a lifetime prison sentence. Yao Wenzhong, known as the Ghost Eye Dragon Divider and a tomb raider for 46 years, was shot dead on October 17, 2017.
Ordinary people don't realize he crossed a line that shouldn't be crossed.
Yao Yuman was frightened and wanted to back out, but the Sun brothers refused.
The atmosphere turned tense, the air nearly crackling. Yao Wenza, the crew's short-haired tough guy, wore a grim expression. At that moment I was 70% scared, 30% curious. Fear was obvious, but curiosity nodded me what lay hidden behind the stone door. What unrevealed national treasures were concealed within? We were just a small team. There were far stronger groups in the underworld.
Even if we could open the underground palace door, crack the jade stone inside, and retrieve the relics, we couldn't bear the consequences. The contents behind that stone door were like a ticking time bomb.
Smuggling such treasures out for sale would be our doom.
With poor radio signal, I still managed to report the situation to Boss Wang. After a moment of silence over the radio, the red light flickered, and Boss Wang's voice came through. "Everyone," he said, "Bosses 1 and 3, Yinfeng, and Miss Yao are right. This situation is beyond what we can escape safely.
Everyone get out. Boss 2, don't look for him."
Hearing this, Sun the Third, normally calm, rubbed his head, eyes bloodshot, and furiously kicked the stone door, cursing non-stop. The stone door didn't budge, only a faint dust drifted down. Sun the Third collapsed to the ground, clutching his hair. My nose tingled, heart aching. The second brother was the team's joker, yet here in this Western Zhou tomb, he had mysteriously vanished. Besides pressure, another reason none of us entered was because of the Jade Stone. The Jade Stone, aka Sealing Stone, is a basic security mechanism in ancient tombs. Many tombs have it. For example, the tombs of Ming Emperor Shenzong Zhuijuan and Emperor Wanli contain sealing stones over a meter long. There are generally two ways to crack a sealing stone: cunning or brute force. When Sun Dianying raided Empress Dowager Cixi's tomb, he used brute force, gathering strong men and explosives to blow through the sealing stone, looting treasures like the luminous pearl, jadeite cabbage, and nine-dragon sword. The alternative method is called the oxnose ring deviation technique, which Sun the Third later explained to me.
The oxnose ring is a hollowed-out iron ring with small holes on both sides for tying ropes.
The method involves locating the sealing stone, then chiseling out the oxnose shape from the door's crack to see the sealing stone behind. You need a homemade tool called the half-circle dragon claw. Northern folks call it that, Southerners call it a crook needle. Years ago, the National Archaeology team tried every method, except explosives, but couldn't move the 1.5-ton sealing stone behind Dingling's stone door. Eventually, they referred to ancient texts and, according to rumors, asked tomb raiders still in prison for help, successfully opening Dingling intact. The half-circle dragon claw or crook needle sounds complicated but is simple in practice. It has a long handle on one end and a half-circle metal hook on the other. You slide it through the door gap, hook it onto the sealing stone, and thread a rope through the groove. Then, by pulling the rope from outside, the stone shifts, the mechanism fails, and the stone door can be pushed open. Jade stones are just one of the most common tomb mechanisms. For thousands of years, tomb robbers and guardians have been locked in a constant battle. Whoever has the better technique gains the upper hand.
It was past 3 in the morning when our group crawled out from the secret tunnel, ready to leave. Wang Bato looked grim. He'd been in this line of work for half his life and knew that a door-sealing stone weighing more than 2 or 3 tons couldn't be moved by just 2 or 3 people tied to a rope. So, Wang Bata changed our plan. While urging Sun Laoda to quickly contact buyers and sell those 7 or 8 bags of bronze artifacts, he had his men backfill the tunnel, leaving no trace behind. We had to get out of Shund as soon as possible and lay low. Wang Batu also warned us never to spread what happened tonight, or we'd risk landing in jail. The 3 Sun brothers had grown up drinking and making money together, but suddenly there was one less. Under Wang Batu's urging, Sun Laoda reluctantly started selling the items. No one knew when they'd actually sell, but the wait was torture. Sun San was drunk every day, numbing himself with alcohol. I saw him half drunk, holding a bottle, talking to himself. Before, this time of night, Ergu, second brother, would be the happiest, shouting the loudest because the money was about to be divided. Ergu, where are you? Come back soon and share the money. When Sun Laoda left, he only took 1 piece of bronze as a sample to show potential buyers. There were dozens of bronze artifacts stolen this time, which ordinary people simply couldn't sell. Wang Bata wanted to handle everything at once, converting it quickly to cash to get out fast. But days passed with no news. Our team was on edge every day, suspecting Sun Laoda might have been caught. Sun San went out rarely. He stayed trapped in his hotel room, drawing underground palace stone doors on blank sheets. I realized he had opened stone doors before, but for doors this huge and heavy, he was at a loss. Actually, he used drawing as a way to comfort himself. A door no one else could open, how could he open it all alone? That was pure hysteria. To put it another way, imagine someone has only $10 but insists on trying on clothes at the most expensive brand store. The clerk can't make him leave, so he keeps trying on clothes he can't afford. That was Sun San's state. We didn't even know how to talk him out of it. On the 3rd day, I remembered Li Jing's birthday and wanted to celebrate, and take her a gift. Back then, portable tape players were all the rage, and having one was very cool. The 2 hot songs were Sammy Chang's Eyebrow Dancing and Richie Jen's Look Over Here, Girl. Hits like The Mouse Loves Rice and Praying to Buddha wouldn't be popular for years to come. I spent a few hundred yuan on a Sony cylindrical Walkman and tapes.
This money came from Bada's funds. I hadn't spent all of it and felt stingy saving the rest. At the turn of the millennium, the Fall in Love group was all the rage, with their emo hairstyles and ripped jeans that looked ridiculous, but Li Jing was into that style. When I went to her place, her mother was at work, so it was just Li Jing at home.
Li Jing, happy birthday. You're getting more beautiful every day, I said as I handed her the Walkman.
She took it blushing, and the moment felt awkward. We both remembered what happened that night at the motel when I was scared and ran off.
Suddenly, Li Jing said, Yinfeng, you go to number 1 middle school, right? I'm working on some math problems but stuck on a few equations. Can you help me out? My mom said you could tutor me. My face instantly darkened. I didn't go to number 1 middle school and I didn't understand math equations.
I only knew tune rating and didn't dare teach her.
She handed me the worksheet and I took a look. It was like reading alien texts. Sweat poured down my forehead. I had no clue. Then she handed me a pen and said, how do I solve these? Write down the steps.
I doodled some random circles and squares on the worksheet. She looked stunned and asked what method that was.
I lied, that's from a later course. You haven't learned it yet, but you will.
At that moment, 2 of her classmates came by to celebrate her birthday, 2 boys. One had fully dyed red hair with a yellow tuft in front and wore chain pants, a true emo kid.
Happy birthday, Li Jing. Red-haired boy grinned, holding out a cake. Li Jing smiled back, thank you, Wang Chang. That's so generous of you to get a cake.
Red-haired boy puffed his forehead hair, no big deal.
Piece of cake.
Seeing Wang Chang, about my age, really ticked me off. That was just some cheap cake, maybe 30 yuan tops.
My Sony Walkman cost over 800 yuan, and Li Jing never called it expensive, so what was this cake compared to mine?
Wang Chang said, come on, let me arrange something. I booked a table for Xiao Jing at the Star Hotel by the school gate. He said this proudly, looking at me.
Thanks, Wang Chang. I haven't eaten either, let's go, Yinfeng, Li Jing said, grabbing my arm. Wang Chang didn't look too happy and kept glaring at me.
The Star Hotel was just across from number 3 middle school, mainly hosting school officials and wealthy students. It was the town's fancy hotel, although to students, only slightly better than KFC. Wang Chang had clearly burned through a week's lunch money to impress Li Jing that night.
This is segment 25 of 283. Please process the following content according to your logic.
Keep the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout.
Return only the processed result. There was a funny moment when ordering food, very much like Xiao Shenyang's sketch No Problem with Money. First, Xiao Huangmao ordered garlic scallops, but the waiter said they were sold out. Then he ordered poached chicken, but the waiter said the market hadn't opened, so no chickens were bought. Xiao Huangmao thumped the menu, then what exactly do you have here at Star Grand Hotel? The waiter smiled and said, authentic home-style dishes.
So we ordered 5 home-style dishes, sour and spicy shredded potatoes, mapo tofu, kung pao chicken, braised eggplant, and scrambled eggs with chives, plus 3 bottles of Jianlibo soda. There were 4 of us, but obviously Xiao Huangmao didn't get me any soda. As soon as the food arrived, Xiao Huangmao clinked glasses with Li Jing, saying, come on, happy birthday, Xiao Jing.
Li Jing handed me her soda. Yinfeng, you drink mine. No thanks, I'll buy my own. I pushed it back. They spoke quietly. Xiao Huangmao sneered sarcastically, hey, kid, your clothes and hairstyle are so outdated. Have you ever even had Jianlibo? I was about to get angry when a familiar voice came from the restaurant entrance. Yinfeng? What are you doing here? You don't look well, what's going on? Seeing a few people, I quickly stood up. It's nothing, sister you. I'm just eating with some friends. Alongside Yao Yuman were 3 men in suits and sunglasses.
They looked serious and didn't say a word, just stood there.
Yinfeng, you came here. Are these your classmates? Yao Yuman looked at me with complicated eyes.
I squinted at her hard. She smiled and said, since we ran into each other today, Yinfeng, let's have a meal together.
I have some things I want to discuss with you privately.
Saying this, she pulled out a flip-style pager and called, yeah, it's my brother.
We'll be there in half an hour. As soon as the pager came out, many in the restaurant secretly glanced over, including Xiao Huangmao.
Back then, owning a pager was a sign of wealth. Moreover, Yao Yuman was flanked by 3 gang-like suited men.
Xiao Huangmao swallowed nervously and didn't dare argue with me anymore. Your friends called you, Yinfeng. We'll catch up later. Li Jing saw through my thoughts and generously let me go.
On the 2nd floor of Star Grand Hotel, in a deluxe private room, dishes kept arriving: fish, shrimp, all substantial main courses.
Yao Yuman poured herself a drink, took a sip, and looked at me. Yinfeng, what are your plans now?
I paused with my chopsticks in midair, eyeing the three suited men warily.
It's fine, there are people. Yao Yuman put down her glass. Sister Yu, the boss has already moved.
The head wants us to get out as soon as possible and leave here, I said seriously.
Yao Yuman swirled her glass. That's best. Boss Wang knows his limits. Remember, once you leave shunned, don't come back. I was puzzled and asked why.
She took a bite, put down her chopsticks. Our line of work is like the underworld, strategists, fighters, conspiracies both behind the scenes and in the open.
You just joined. As long as you loyally follow Wang Xiansheng, your future is bright.
By the way, do you believe in mountain spirits or ghosts? She suddenly changed the subject.
I shook my head. No.
When people die, they ascend to heaven, if not, they live on forever.
Where are ghosts and spirits? My answer was naive but sounded mature. Yao Yuman laughed.
She pulled out a bagua compass and held it before my eyes.
Strangely, the compass's 3 needles all pointed behind my back.
Seeing me stunned, Yao Yuman teased, Yinfeng, there's a toothless starving old woman standing right behind you. Just then, a cold shiver ran down my spine.
One suited man took off his sunglasses.
She shook her head, enough, Yuman.
This kid's face is not simple, don't scare him. Yao Yuman put away the compass.
Here, this is a charm for protection. She handed me a string of red rope necklace with a small box hanging at the end, containing yellow and red folded papers.
Thanks, Sister Yu. I put it on.
It fit perfectly, hidden under my clothes with only a bit of red rope showing.
We chatted for a while.
Yao Yuman told stories about Boss Wang's past, inspiring me with respect and hope that someday I could also earn respect on this path. Full and satisfied, I bade farewell to Yao Yuman, taking a packed meal with me. Downstairs, Li Jing's table had also cleared.
I guessed they had gone home.
On the way back to the hotel, I couldn't stop touching the charm, growing fond of it.
Third brother, I'm back. Brought you food. I pushed open the hotel door. Third brother? Third brother?
Paper balls were scattered on the floor. Sun Lao San lay on the ground, with papers strewn around him.
I randomly unwrapped one ball.
On the paper, drawn with pencil and compass, were many angles repeatedly tracing a rope.
Third brother, what's this? I asked, seeing the mess. Sun Lao San's face was pale.
He stared at the ceiling and suddenly laughed.
Found it. Found it. I found it.
He suddenly sat up straight, grabbed my shoulder, and excitedly said, Yinfeng, I figured out how to open the Zileishi stone. His face was pale and his eyes bloodshot. Before I could say anything, he hurriedly blurted out, a crowbar pin.
Using a thicker crowbar pin, we can pry it open. I shook my head. No, third brother. No matter how thick the crowbar pin is, it's just a tool and tools need people to use them. We don't have enough manpower. I wasn't speaking nonsense. There were roughly 3 ways to open the underground tomb door beneath Fei Mountain.
1. Gather 40 or 50 people to pull together. 2. Use hundreds of pounds of explosives to blow it open, though the explosives might not work and could even bury us alive. 3. Report it to the National Archaeological Team and have the government handle it. None of these options worked, and the boss had already decided to give up. I felt third brother's ideas were useless. No, third brother picked up a piece of paper from the ground, excitedly pointing it out to me. I looked at the paper, puzzled. On the white sheet were drawn a large basket and 3 little calves. Thinking back to the thick rope he had just drawn, a thunderclap suddenly rang inside my head.
Third brother, you're not thinking. Ha, he laughed. Exactly. People plus 3 calves, and with the crowbar pin and thickened rope, we can definitely pull the Zileishi stone aside in one go. His idea surprised me. I asked again, 3 calves? Can they really pull it? We raise them.
Yinfeng, think about it, the cave entrance is too small for large things to go down.
We can use a basket to lower the calves, let them eat, feed and grow. Third brother's eyes gleamed. I felt his forehead and said, Third brother, you don't have a fever, do you? He grabbed my hand tightly. You in or not, Yinfeng? Join me and the boss. Seeing how serious he was, I sighed, but what about the boss? He's given up on this, third brother. We don't need to worry about him. Just the 3 of us. Isn't it shady to keep this from the boss? He stood up and grabbed my shoulder. Yinfeng, the boss hasn't come back these past few days. Do you really think he's still out there? Actually, he's already back, here in Shund. Just after 1 in the morning, third brother secretly took me to a hidden spot. As soon as we entered the room, I saw the boss, whom I hadn't seen in days. Unexpectedly, that woman, the one with the mole, was there too. 3 incense sticks burned as the 3 of us knelt under the witness of that woman.
Third brother clasped his hands, facing the incense burner, saying, This plan is as dangerous as hell.
If we die here, we will have no regrets. If we succeed, we will become fugitives in the underworld, no complaints.
The Sun family believes in returning to one's roots. Even if second brother becomes Bones, we'll give him peace.
I, Sun Liantian. I, Sun Lianqing. I, Xiang Yunfeng.
All three of us said together, today we swear brotherhood, to share fortune and hardship alike.
We kowtowed.
That mole-faced woman's eyes flashed with a strange light.
This was truly a plan people dared not to think, a deed people dared not to do.
Knowing full well there were tigers in the mountain, we were charging straight into their lair.
Remembering that scene back then, my face nearly burned. Who still burned incense for brotherhood these days?
But at that time, I was genuinely moved. It was a shift in the mindset of men. The three of us, fearless of heaven or earth, began fantasizing and scheming.
Yao Yuman's warnings, Boss Wang's concerns, all were tossed aside.
Our only thought was to make a big move, to open that stone door and see what was hidden inside. Later, the boss sold half of the bronzeware, while the rest, including the bronze vessel inscribed with the 4 characters Jeho Dai Zi, was taken by Boss Wang. On the day the money was divided, our group gathered. Boss Wang didn't know about the secret plan the three of us had. It was my first time seeing so much money, neatly packed into large plastic bags, 10,000 yuan per stack, the 4th series of RMB, with the blue 100 yuan bills featuring 4 portraits. Boss Wang handed out the money in order. Third brother, this is yours. Boss, this is yours. Xiaohong, this is for you and your team.
Thanks for your hard work. I touched the plastic bag and smiled. Thanks, boss.
Boss Wang nodded, looking at the bag I pushed forward.
Yunfeng, you're new and you contributed. Here, don't complain if it's less. I looked at the bulging bag and swallowed hard. Boss, how much is this?
130,000, he said calmly.
My hand trembled even more. I'd never seen this much money before, nor imagined it. Boss, I still owe you 50,000. I wanted to open the bag and take some money. No need, he waved it off. You can't owe anyone on your first deal. It's bad luck. Keep it for now and settle it later. I nodded silently and took the money.
This was my first pot of gold in life. Just this one deal was worth what my uncle's farm earned in 3 or 4 years.
This is segment 27 out of 283.
Please process the content below according to your logic, maintaining the original paragraph structure, line breaks, and overall layout.
Return only the processed text.
Cats have their paths, rats have theirs, and I, Xiang Yunfeng, am about to make it big.
As for my second brother's money, Boss Wang said he would temporarily keep it for him for a year.
If after a year the guy didn't come back, the money would be handed over to Big Brother's son.
Curious about who the buyer was, I later asked Big Brother.
He said the buyer was very mysterious, a Hong Kong runner. Back in the day, Hong Kong runners were people who specialized in running errands and handling affairs for others. The buyer was behind the scenes, using the runner as an agent. Because Hong Kong and Macau laws were different at the time, bronze artifacts could be auctioned directly. Both Christie's and Sotheby's headquarters were in Hong Kong, which was the biggest market for tomb-raiding goods. The first people who got rich flipping antiques were all seasoned players in Hong Kong, many of whom I knew. Not to denigrate them, but nobody in this business has a clean background. After splitting the money, Boss Wang was ready to leave Shun and asked where we were headed.
We were secretive, of course, didn't tell him the truth. Big Brother's son replied, Boss, old third Yunfeng and I have talked it over.
We plan to hang out in Dongguan for a while, maybe 5 or 6 months, and wait for your next instructions.
You three going together? Boss Wang asked us in surprise. Yeah, the 3 of us. Yunfeng's still young and inexperienced, so we're taking him along to broaden his horizons.
Though Big Brother was lying to Boss Wang, it wasn't far from the truth.
At that time, the escort industry was booming.
In 1999, Beijing Changqing Thai Catering Group was established. Its female boss had her base in Dongguan and Beijing. The highest service standards nationwide were in those 2 cities.
Big Brother deliberately said we were going to Dongguan for fun.
Boss Wang believed it, left for Beijing the next day, telling us to enjoy ourselves and wait for him to contact us about the next job. We didn't leave yet, stayed in Shun to make plans, and changed our place.
Near Fei Mountain, close to the cemetery, Big Brother posed as an investor.
In less than 20 days, he bought over 20 acres of rice paddies.
Having money sure makes things easier. After buying the nearby paddies, we fenced the area. We lived at the foot of Fei Mountain. There used to be a few bungalows there, but they were torn down and turned into green space for Shunfeng Park. That night, Yaiqi bought 3 calves, Charolais cattle, fast-growing and strong.
Calculated correctly, with good feed, they'd mature in 5 months. If used for pulling the ceiling stones, about 4 months was enough.
Yaiqi also prepared cold weather tents and supplies.
That night, we tied the calves with ropes and sent them down into the underground cave. The calves were strong and hard to control, kicking and thrashing. We all ended up sweating buckets. The cave entrance was just the right size. The calves couldn't be any bigger, or they wouldn't fit. In the tomb raiding world, no one dares to keep cattle inside a big tomb. This was a clever trick. Who knows how Third Brother's mind works? We set up a tent underground, hammering stakes in the ground to tie the calves.
Those months, those 3 calves practically became our ancestors. We fed them as much as we could, up to 8 meals a day, making sure they were full. The basement was damp. Son Third would check on the calves every night. I only went down occasionally. Mostly at night I secretly lowered ropes to bring water, food, and feed, then covered the cave entrance with turf. During the day, I slept in the bungalow, keeping a small telescope to watch if the fence wall was standing. Sometimes, when Yikshi came to help, I'd go out to look for Li Jing. 2 months later, Li Jing entered her senior year of high school. That day, I bought 3 jin of egg cakes and, as usual, went to see her. Just as I arrived, I saw her sitting with her legs hugged, pale-faced. Xiao Jing, what's wrong? I brought you some egg cakes.
Li Jing was as pale as death, biting her lip, staring at me. Suddenly, she threw a pillow at me.
Xiang Yunfeng, why did you lie to me? Wang Chang already told me. You're not even a student at number 1 high school. You're not even from Shund.
You're a liar, she shouted with red eyes. I stepped back 2 paces, my hand trembled, and the egg cakes fell to the ground, scattering everywhere. Leaving Li Jing's house, my heart was in turmoil. I didn't dare say a word. I'm not a top student at number 1 high school. I'm a tomb robber, a bad guy.
No one my age wants to be friends with me.
I can never forget the look in Li Jing's eyes as I left.
Back at the bungalow down the mountain, Yikshi was eating an apple. Seeing my distracted state, she smiled and asked, "What's wrong? Lost your soul?" I gave a bitter smile. "Nothing, the wind's strong, it's messing with my eyes." She looked at me suspiciously, then laughed. "You still haven't even grown all your hair, and you already know what heartbreak is? Get over it, quick." I got mad, not because she called me a kid, but because she told me to forget Li Jing. But Li Jing isn't someone you can just forget. Back then, on QQ Space, non-mainstream photos were all the rage, melancholy gazes, messy hairstyles, paired with a few words, "Forget love." That month, I didn't dare go find Li Jing. Calves grow fast when well fed in the pit below, and we gave them the best feed. The hooked pin was ready in advance, made by a top craftsman in Luoyang that the boss found. Its size fit perfectly. Besides feeding the cattle, the third brother spent his free time chipping away at the stone door with hammer and chisel. After 2 months, he finally carved out a notch for the bull's nose ring. That night, we gathered under the pit, the atmosphere tense. It was time to try using this method to pry open the Zilai stone. Everything would be decided tonight. Boss Sun patted the bull's head, then stroked it and said, "Counting on you, buddy." A climbing rope from Ichi-Z was tied between the hooked pin and the bull's nose ring, looped around the necks of the 3 bulls. We tightened the remaining rope. Boss Sun shouted, "Pull."